What's up, big baller shot callers? Big Ken here. Welcome from the Grid to the Rim Sports Talk Show. Joe, my co-host Monty Brown's going on, brother.
Boy, I see you're smiling. I wonder why.
Yeah, I
What's
wonder
going
why.
on
I
over
wonder
there?
why. Hey, folks, Michigan right here. Michigan just got their second national championship. They won. They beat UConn last night 69-63 to get their second national championship, their first since 1989. Glenn Rice. It's been a long time coming. I don't know how many
Yeah.
years that is, but it's a long time. I can do the math real quickly. 99, 2009, 2019 is
Yeah.
30 years. 2026, 37 years. 37
Oh,
years. So it's been a long time coming. So after we're going to talk about some recaps of that game. UConn, UConn fought hard. It
yeah.
was close the whole entire way. We'll talk about that during the show, some of the recaps of that game. But yeah, Michigan um, also was the first time in NCAA history where they scored 90 points in 5 games in a row. They did not score 90 last night, but they scored over 90 against Arizona in the Final Four
Yeah.
game. So that's 5 straight games over 90 points. First team to ever do it. So absolutely insane. They had a dominant performance in the tournament. But also congratulations to UCLA women's UCLA
Wow.
women's March Madness. UCLA first time national champs.
Wow.
Blew
They put
out
on a
South
clinic,
Carolina and
man.
Dawn Staley. I couldn't believe it. I thought it might be the other way around.
Wow. Yeah.
Um, they won 79-51. They won like by almost 30 points, 28 points. I mean, they're a big at halftime, and that they never like let go of the lead. I mean, I think South Carolina was a shock. They didn't expect that because
Yeah.
South Carolina's got a really good team. Dawn Staley has 3 national championships underneath her belt. She's been there like I think Dawn Staley's been in a national championship game 4 out of the last 5 years.
Yeah. 1-3, as a whole, I
Won
believe.
3.
Yeah.
But the last 2 years they've gotten blown out. Last year they got blown out by
Yes.
UConn. This
Yes.
weekend they got blown out by UCLA. Wasn't surprised about UConn last year because UConn was loaded and South Carolina got upset big earlier that year, the year before. So I wasn't surprised. But this year I was very surprised. So congrats to UCLA women, their first time
Yeah.
ever.
Congrats. Good
But
job.
also really quick before we get into the stats, we're also going to talk about the Jaden Ivey situation.
Mm. Good. Stir the
Uh,
pot a little, man.
yeah, was he let go for religious beliefs? We'll talk about that. We'll debate that. And also, we already talked about Geno. We're already talking about Don State a little bit. We're going to talk about the Geno Arnie. I can't say his last name. Auriemma. I can't say.
Yeah, I can't either. Just
But
we'll just say
Geno and
Gino.
Don Staley. I can't say
Yeah.
that dude's last name to save my life. But a lot of people talking about Geno being way out of
Yeah.
line. I mean, Dawn Staley wasn't innocent herself. She got
No.
pretty fired up, but he kind of initiated it and she fired back. That's the way it kind of looked. Um, People talk about him being kind of like having a sore loser attitude, getting in his 70s, kind of getting older, not really handling things very well. Yeah, we'll talk about that. So, what's your thoughts on how Geno acted? Should he step down or should he stay? So obviously the man's won 11 championships, but does 11 championships make you get away with everything? Obviously this is only one thing, but is there? I guess what I'm saying is there signs there where there might be more things to follow, and should he step down now because you don't want more things to
Right.
continue this way? So, but that's what we're going to talk about today. Um, let's talk about this recap. Um,
Let's get into it. Let's
Well,
go.
first I can hit the Final Four, but just very quickly, I
Yeah.
was shocked that Michigan. I picked Michigan to win this whole thing. By the way, I got third place in my March Madness tournament, so I'm getting a little bit of money, not a lot, but I'm getting a little
Nice.
bit of money back.
Congrats.
Yeah, I got third place. But I was shocked that Michigan blew Arizona. I picked them to win, but I thought that was going to be like a a heavyweight fight. Two number ones going at it. I
Yeah.
did not expect Michigan to blow them out the way they did, 91-73. Um, Up by 16 points at halftime, 48-32, I believe. Um, up by 27 points at a couple different times in the second
Yeah.
half. I mean, they let them get down to under 20 at the end of the game, whatever. They didn't care anymore. But I was surprised. I thought the game was going much closer. What do you think? Were you surprised by that?
I was surprised myself, but I didn't see all of it. I saw part of it. It was Michigan's size, their athleticism, and Arizona's downfall was their youth, a bunch of freshmen. Now you have a bunch of. We'll talk about this during the recap of Michigan. All the transfers they have, the whole doggone starting lineup, a bunch of transfers. But these are older, mature, seasoned transfers, and
Yeah.
you can see the difference. Man, I didn't expect to blow out like that either. Man, but that's what it was.
Yeah, it was a blowout. It was a blowout. So I was kind of surprised. I was a little bit worried going into the game because I knew Arizona had one of the best defense, if not the best defense, coming in to
Yeah,
that game. That was left in the tournament, and I thought Arizona would play them better. Yeah, I really thought that. You know, but yeah, just like you said, I'm not going to really repeat too much. But yeah, Michigan's experience and they're a big team. Yeah, their length and their athleticism was what's
yeah,
really bothered. It's bothered teams all tournament long, and it
yeah,
bothered Arizona. Yeah, like I said, Michigan plays better defense than I thought. I remember last show, a couple of
yeah,
shows ago, I was worried about Michigan's defense, but
yeah,
because sometimes it looks like in some of these scores, and you don't know about that, but their defense is really good. They have a lot of block. They block a lot of shots a game. They're a pretty good rebounding team. They blocked a lot of shots against UConn last night.
yeah,
A lot of steals last night. They get their hands in there. Yeah, they force a lot of turnovers. And they like to run a gun. If they get a turnover, they're going. Um,
yeah,
yeah, they're going all the way to the hoop, man. They're someone's dunking it, or an easy lay in. Yeah, so I was shocked, but yeah, Michigan just showed me how really good they were against Arizona.
yeah.
Um,
And like we talked about, I think Michigan's a team that can play any style. They can adjust to any style. Um, yeah, like you mentioned, they can run, but they can also use those big, tall trees they have to play a good half-court game. And I think we saw that last night.
yeah, we did. We should get into last night's game. Yeah, the score was only 69-63.
Yeah,
Give credit to UConn. I knew Michigan was not going to score 90 points this game. I
yeah,
know Coach Hurley. I know UConn's mentality. They're not going to get embarrassed like that. They will play
yeah,
hard. They will play physical. And Michigan is also a very physical team.
yeah,
And Coach Hurley was talking about that last night in the post game comments. Like how physical Michigan is, but so is UConn. So
yes,
for Coach Hurley to be saying how physical Michigan is when UConn's a pretty physical team themselves, that's kind
yes,
of that stands out. Um, but yeah, they used their bigs last night. Mara only had 8 points, but he played well. He didn't shoot from the field as much, but he still played well. He had good rebounds, block shots, But Morez Johnson, the transfer from Illinois, 12 points. He played
yeah.
solid. Um, the kid who really went off was their point guard. He didn't have such a good Final Four game, but is
Cadeau, yes.
Cadeau went off.
19.
He got to a great start to start the game. He scored like the first
Yeah,
several points of the game for Michigan.
yeah,
He finished with 19 points.
yes.
I was really happy for him because
Nice.
in the Final Four, he didn't. I won't say he struggled, but his field goal percentage wasn't good. But he dished out a lot of assists, and he had some points, but his shooting percentage wasn't that good that game. But he was much better this game. Um, Lendeborg only had 13 points. The Big Ten Player of the Year, high NBA draft pick. He's probably going the top five, top 10. I mean, at least top 10, maybe top five, but definitely
Yes.
top 10, I would say, is a pretty easy guess, educated guess. But he only had 13 points. He only had 11 points in the Final Four game because he played less than half the game because his ankle. He rolled his ankle in the Arizona game. He did play last night, but you could tell he wasn't 100%, but he gave it everything he had. He didn't shoot well from the field, but he did have a much better second half than he did the first half. Because out of 13 points, he scored 9 of them in the second half. only 4 points at halftime. And Michigan was only 2 out of 15 from 3-point line, 13%. They could
Wow.
not buy a three.
No, both in the second half.
Both in the second half. They're 0 for 8 at
Wow.
halftime. Yep.
Wow. 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 That's something. It's crazy. You could argue that this may have been the worst game they played all season. You could argue
Yeah, and they
that.
still won. That shows you
Yeah.
something. I was thinking about that
Wow.
last night. Like they still won.
Yeah.
They still won. They're missing that many threes. I think is what kept it close. No disrespect to UConn. UConn's a really good team, and they were playing some really good defense. To give them, that's part of the
Yes.
reason why they're not shooting as well. But some of those threes were wide open, and they were just flat out missing them. You
Yes.
know,
Building
but
houses,
they weren't
man.
missing by
Brick,
much. They're
brick,
like
brick.
right there, but it
Yeah.
just wasn't going in. Like they weren't shooting. It wasn't like bricks. I'm like they were like just bouncing off
Yeah.
the cylinder. Like man, like what is going on, man? Um, but anyways,
Well, you said this word 4 or 5 times earlier. Physical, physical, both sides. Just a matter of the teams beating up each other, man. And you saw that in the shooting. Terrible shooting by both sides. I mean, it just came down to, man, just playing inside, making the easy shots. I mean, neither team was shooting threes well at all. Uh, Free throws. Michigan did a darn good job of getting UConn in foul trouble early and in foul trouble pretty much the whole game. And
yeah,
that was UConn's downfall. I mean, their best players couldn't play defense like they could because they were in foul trouble.
yeah.
So, yeah, the Michigan size and their physical play, they played more physical than UConn because that's why they won the game. I mean, but the game was ugly. It wasn't pretty, but that's how you win.
It was a good championship game. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
If you like defense and if you like physical, what we saw with the Pistons in the 80s, if you like that, yeah.
it was
And
a
that's
good
what we saw
heavyweight
defense.
fight. Yeah, it was a really
Yes.
good heavyweight fight. Yeah, some people would say, I mean, second half I thought the officiating was fouls were called pretty evenly in the second half, but first half
Yeah.
Michigan did shoot more free throws because UConn had like three more fouls against them than what Michigan had for the first half, and there might be some UConn fans talking about that. I think it's just part of the game. Obviously, I'm a Michigan fan, so some people might just say I'm being biased, but I think it's part of the game, and I think most of the fouls were the right calls because even Coach Hurley said himself that sometimes we get ourselves into foul trouble because they make undisciplined fouls because like they were grabbing
Yeah.
wrist and
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, you could
Yeah.
see like that was clearly a foul. I mean,
Yeah.
only thing I thought that maybe Michigan got away with a couple times the first half was maybe traveling, because he won traveling on a couple of calls because they were falling down with the basketball.
Yes.
Um, and there
Yeah,
was a jump. They called a foul. I thought it might be a jump ball in the first half.
I don't see that call where I know it's technically it's traveling, but I don't see that call very much anymore anyway. Where you're falling down with it. I know I don't see it often. I don't know if refs. I mean, I know you do basketball. You rep basketball.
Yeah,
If
we
there's a
talked
reason
about that.
behind it.
That's a very hard call. If they have possession of the ball and they find out with the ball is traveling because they lost their pivot foot, but a lot of times the ball is like already kind of loose, like they don't completely have it in their possession,
Okay.
and then they
Yeah,
fall.
that makes
That
sense.
it's not
Yeah.
traveling because they don't have possession. Like the ball's loose, basically.
Yeah.
They might fall down on top of it because they're trying to like reclaim it, and that's where some people think that's the travel.
Sure.
But if the ball's
Sure.
already out, kind of sort of, and they jump on it, then it's not traveling. But if they're just standing there, and they lose their balance because wherever, and then they fall over, they switch pivot foots, like that's traveling. Hopefully that kind of clears up. It's hard, and there was a couple close calls in the first half last night where the ball might have been out barely, where they didn't completely
Yeah.
have control of the ball. Maybe that's why they didn't call traveling. That's why I'm assuming. Obviously, I'm not in the referee locker room hearing them talk about this because I'm sure they talked about it. But yeah. But for the second half, though, the calls are pretty even. But of course, and at the end of the game, of course, UConn's foul on purpose because they're trying to get possessions back, and that's one because this is the free throws. Michigan was 25 out of 28,
Yes.
89%, and UConn was 12 out of 16, 75%.
Yeah.
So Michigan shot 12 more free throws. They made 13 more, 12 out of 16, 25 out of 20. So that's a 13-point difference right
Right.
there.
Right. Right. Uh, let's stir the pot a little bit. Now that this team has gotten out of the shadow of the Fab Five, because they have, I mean, yeah, do you think this team's going to be remembered? We remember the Fab Five. They didn't win a championship. We remember all five of those guys. Now that this team's won the chip, as a Michigan fan, are we going to remember these players?
I think we will. Now it's like some people probably it is a big argument because I know I get your point because Fab Five was just so famous because they're the first five freshmen to start in the middle of the season. They didn't start at the beginning of the year. A couple of them did, but not all five of them. I know
Right.
Chris Webber and Jalen Rose were starting. Maybe Juwan Hubbard. Then you know, they brought in Jimmy King and Ray
Yes.
Jackson. I think those are the two guys that weren't starting. But they're just remember because what they did, the first freshman to make it to the Final Four.
Yeah.
That's what made them so famous. And then like their style of play, the long baggy shorts, the black socks, everything they talked about in the 30 for 30 documentary.
Change basketball.
They changed basketball. They brought a different style of basketball,
Yeah.
so that's why they're so remembered. Um, but the reason why I think we will remember this team, I think Michigan fans will remember this team is because we waited 37 years to get another championship. I mean,
Mhm.
so this team will be remembered for breaking the ice, for breaking the barrier. Glenn Rice won it in 1989. He
Okay.
averaged 25 points a game during that tournament. He killed it. I mean, great NBA player for the Charlotte Hornets and other teams. I know he played a lot for the Charlotte Hornets back in the day.
Yes.
Um, but I think they're gonna be remembered because they broke the 37-year gap. You know,
Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
but you made a good point earlier. That they didn't all start at Michigan though, so that's maybe one reason why some people will forget. But there
Mhm.
are a couple of guys on that team that were at Michigan that weren't transfers, like Gale, the white dude that came off the bench a lot.
Oh
I can't
yeah.
remember the name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Suster.
Yeah. I can't think. Yeah, I know what you're
They're
talking
there
about.
with Juwan Howard, and they didn't transfer. They didn't transfer because old boy did. The UConn player used to play at Michigan. The UConn big played at Michigan. Um, what's his name? I mentioned him last show. Reed.
Yes.
Reed was a Michigan player. He was with Juwan Howard. He left when he got fired because he wasn't sure what direction they're going, which is understandable, you know. And he gave a lot of love to Michigan last night. He's a good guy, good player, and he helped Michigan guys off the ground a couple times. He had good sportsmanship, like when both teams were hustling. Like I like Reed a lot. Like just his attitude. Like yeah, he has a good demeanor about himself. I understand why he left. He left because he wasn't sure what they're going to do. They didn't know Dusty May would be this good. He was a
Right.
toss up. Um, so I think they're going to be remembered though. I don't drag it on, but I think they're going to be remembered. What do you think?
How well? Yeah. I think they will for a different reason. How about the job Dusty May did with these players?
Yeah,
Transfers. The first time that this has been done, a bunch of transfers. You believe this team was 8-24 2 years ago?
yep.
8 wins. That's it. Just eight. Think about that for a minute.
And Juwan
And
Howard's
to win the
gone.
chip 2 years later. Yeah. So with this new stuff, well, this new system, you got NIL, you have the transfer portal. For him to pull this off, we might see this, continue to see this. For him to pretty much start it, yeah, yeah, they will be remembered. I mean, we're not going to forget the Fab Five. Nobody's going to forget the Fab Five, but I think this will be another reason why we will remember this team.
Yeah, I think we both have good reasons, but yours is probably better. I think the 37-year gap is mine, but you're right because of how they assembled the team. Dusty May coming in there taking over for Juwan Howard. Yeah, he was the coach of at FAU.
Right,
Um,
right.
I know Morez Johnson came from Illinois. I mentioned that last show. He was the Illinois transfer. I can't remember where all the rest of the guys came from. I think Morrow was UCLA, and not sure where Lendeborg was
Yeah,
playing at.
that
Let me look
much.
him up.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think he was Michigan all 5 years. I mean, all of his time there. So yeah, yeah, I'm not sure where he played at the whole time. I'm trying to look it up real quick, people. Uh, uh, well,
Hmm. Well,
I'm still looking it up.
yeah, yeah. I've heard it mentioned, but I can't remember exactly where either.
Oh, I know now. It says UAB.
Okay, yeah.
He was at UAB. So yeah, that's not
Oh.
even a big school,
No,
but
it's not. It's a decent basketball school. They've had
they're
a
decent. But they're
couple
like
of good
more like
runs.
mid-major D1 type.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But see, you can't
Interesting.
blame Lindenborg for transfer though, because I that's the only reason why I still like the transfer. I don't like NAL so much, but like I said in many shows with me, you, and Dwayne, like when guys transfer like Lindenborg did to go from like a small D1 school or a D2 school to go to like a big time school like a Michigan, North Carolina,
Yes,
Duke, whatever, UConn, Arizona. I mean, I think that's fine because they kind of start off small. Like, hey, I don't, I'm not sure if I'm ready for these kind of big schools yet, but
yes,
I'm gonna develop myself down here. Then I'm gonna go when I know I'm ready. Like I'm not a freshman.
yes,
Um,
yes.
so I'm okay with what Lendeborg did, but the thing I'm not okay with is these guys transferring like 3 times to different schools because of NIL.
Right, right, right.
That's what I don't like. But if Leonard Borg just wants to go there because he's trying to broaden his horizons, getting ready for the NBA, just like the Tennessee player a couple years ago that took the team to the Elite Eight and played for the Lakers for a year or two. What's his
Yes.
name? Is he still with the Lakers?
Connect. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. He's still there. Yeah,
Connect,
still there. Dalton Connect. Yeah,
Dalton Connect. Yeah,
yeah, still there. Yeah, he's not playing much, but he's
he
still there.
transferred from
Yeah,
like northern somewhere. He
yeah,
started off small.
yeah,
Yeah, he transferred a couple times actually to going bigger and bigger each time.
yeah.
So I was Northern Colorado or
Yeah,
something,
right. Yeah, it's not Colorado school. Yeah, you're right.
Northern Iowa, something like that. But he landed at Tennessee his last couple of years, but he had a journey of going from small to big. So
Yeah,
that's the part I'm okay with. I just don't like it 3 or 4 times. These guys are in college for like 6 or 7 years. I'm okay with fifth year seniors because that's been around for a long time. I don't mind the
yeah,
fifth year senior program. That's okay. But these guys have been there for 6 or 7 years. They got to go. They got to
yeah.
go. To me, that's what's messing up college basketball and college sports in general, but definitely college basketball. So,
I
um,
agree. 4 to 5 years, and that's it.
yeah,
5 at the most.
yeah, 5 at the most. Unless you get, I mean, I'm okay with red shirt freshmen also. That's
Sure,
fine.
sure,
You
sure.
know
Yes.
that's okay. You get an extra year that way. That's been around since we were that age, high
Oh
school,
yeah,
college
yeah, yeah,
age.
yeah, yeah.
That's nothing new.
And that won't go away. Right.
Yeah. Real quick, more stats on the UConn side before we get into the Geno Staley situation. But
Yeah.
so UConn shot a lot more threes, but they're only 9 out of 33 themselves, like you alluded to. They both shot
Yeah.
not very well. 9 out of
Yes.
33, I think like 27%. Um, Caravan did have 17 points. He played decent, but he was 3 out of 10 from 3 points. Mullins only had 11 points, the true freshman. He was 3 out of 10 from 3 points. Um, yeah, they shot 30.9% from the field, basically 31%, and Michigan shot 38.2, like I already mentioned. Like both in their 30s, but they're like barely over 30, and Michigan was close, pushing 40. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, they could, yeah, this tough physical defense.
Yeah.
But the way Caravan started off the game, man, he started off pretty good. I thought he might score like 20 some points. You know, I do got to mention. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. Yeah. UConn. I think UConn needed another player to score what Caravan was scoring or more
Hmm.
to probably even win the game. You know.
Yeah,
But
Reed
yeah,
only had 13 points. Reed
wow.
was going off all tournament long, 25 plus, multiple 25 plus point games, but Michigan's size affected him a little bit. Yeah, he only had 13 points, like 4 out of 12 from the field and 13 points. So, yeah, he struggled. He struggled. Um,
Yes,
Go ahead.
defense. Well, defense wins championships. That's what it is.
Yeah, yeah. Someone else needed to score up, like what you said. If Reed would have had a better game, yeah, it would have been more interesting.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Mullins, Mullins was pretty cold. Like I said, he's only 3 out of 10 from the 3 point line, but he was like only like 4 out of like 16 or 17 together. He only made like one 2 point shot. He was really struggling from the field in general. Um, but yeah, Michigan's defense was just tenacious. Michigan had like 6 block shots,
man.
six steals. But one thing UConn did really well, and I was pissed off at Michigan, was Michigan got out rebounded.
Yeah,
Um, UConn had a ton of offensive rebounds, a ton. Um, Michigan got rebounded 43 to 36 altogether, but on the offensive side, it was 20 to 10. They got doubled up on the offensive
yeah.
rebound side. UConn had 20 offensive rebounds to Michigan's 10. That was keeping UConn in the game, and Michigan, like we already mentioned, Michigan was ice cold from the 3 point line, 2 out of 15. That was keeping them in it.
That's hard to believe because Michigan's a lot. Like we talked about the whole tournament, how big this team is, and
They
they
usually
were
don't get out
clearly better than
rebound.
you.
They're usually winning the rebounding battle. Yeah, they
Yeah.
usually win the rebound battle. But last night they
Wow.
did not. Yeah, yeah. I think free throws for Michigan kept winning the game, obviously, and just their size down low because you already mentioned it, But I think all their field goals were inside the paint in the first half.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So um,
Yeah.
they weren't even making mid-range jumpers, not just from the 3 point line. They were missing 15 footers, 10
Yes.
footers. Like everything was inside the paint, um, and their free throw shooting, obviously.
Yeah.
So it was absolutely insane. But congrats to Michigan. I'm glad they got their second ring. Let us
Congrats.
know what Monty had a great question. Let us know your thoughts on that. Which team's going to be remembered more and the reasons why. That was a good question, Monty. But yeah, I'm just happy for Michigan. They finally broke this 37-year gap. Um, let's get into Geno and Don Staley. Don Staley. I'll let you cover that. This whole post game handshake or not
Geno.
shaking hands at the pregame, whatever it
Oh,
was.
man. Oh, for one, I think he was already irritated because some of the calls, the non-calls, the way Don Staley was barking at the refs. Who doesn't bark at the refs? Come on now. Uh, Apparently, one of the players for South Carolina had a ripped jersey, which she ripped herself. I don't know the rules on that. I'm not sure. Maybe you can educate me on that. I don't know what that's about.
I don't know about for college.
Okay, okay. So I guess if you rip it yourself, it's no big deal. I don't know. And he just lost his edge at the end of the game. I mean, he got in her face over accused her of not shaking his hand. I mean, which I believe there's tape. I saw a video that she did, and she pushed back. Well, not literally, but she yelled back at him. I mean, she's a woman that's not going to back down, and it's just an overall bad look for college basketball, especially for Geno and UConn.
Yeah, it makes like I said in the opening, it makes Geno look like a sore loser.
Yeah,
I got 11 rings. You kiss my ring. I hate the kiss. I hate the kiss the ring my mentality. Like
yeah, yeah. Entitlement.
entitlement. He has that. He seems to have that. I don't like that. Yeah, it was a really bad look for him. Yeah, he. I saw his. I didn't watch the game live. But I did see his talking about him complaining. I saw his interview
Yeah,
with Holly Rowe at the end of the third quarter. He was saying that there were 6 fouls called against them, but none called against South Carolina. That might have been true, but the problem was UConn was doing all those fouls. I watched that third quarter. They were fouling like crazy. Um, first, first half fouls were pretty even. Actually, first half South Carolina had more fouls called against them in the first half.
yeah, yeah,
I watched the replay. I watched the highlights, the 15-minute highlights. Yeah, South Carolina had like 2 or 3 more foul calls more in total in the first half than what UConn did. So he can't complain about that. The third quarter might
No,
have been a little
no.
bit lopsided, but that's because they were fouling. That's the only thing I can say. They were fouling, but he did try to say, "Well, I can't make it as an excuse. We aren't making shots either." He did come. He did say
Yeah,
that during the interview.
yeah.
Like it's not just that we aren't making shots also. So he said he couldn't use it as a complete excuse, but he was completely frustrated, like you said. Um, yeah, I don't know why he was mentioning about what talk about Coach Staley saying these crazy obscene things to the refs. I don't think so. If she's saying obscene things to the refs, they're going to tee her up.
Right,
Uh,
right, right,
she might
right.
be she might be talking about a call, but like you said, what
Yeah,
coach in D1 doesn't do that? He does
right.
that. So high school coaches do that. I know that
Yeah,
personally. Um, you just can't. You just got to know where your line is before the ref
right,
tees you up. But they're gonna ask. They're gonna ask questions. If they're gonna ask why. Why did you call that? And you have to tell them. You need to explain it to them. He hit. She hit him. She hit her in the wrist during the shot. Like,
yeah,
or if it was blocking, like she didn't. She wasn't there on time. Like, she didn't.
right.
She didn't beat her to the spot. So yeah, blocking and charging the hardest calls to call.
Yeah.
But anyways, you gotta explain why to the coaches when they ask those kind of questions. You gotta have a good answer. You gotta know the rules. So yeah, he's crazy. I think he was way out of line. Like he just showed that he might need to step down. What do you think about that?
I don't think step down yet. If this starts to become a pattern, maybe. Uh, I was doing a little bit of research of how he and Pat Summer didn't. They had a friendly first started off friendly, and then it began to be like a love hate relationship. She said some things about him being a sore loser as well. I mean, I know he's beaten her a few times, and she's beaten him a couple of times, and yeah, he does have this history, and I think he acted that way because of who he lost to. Don Staley is liked in some ways and hated in other ways, kind of like him.
Mm.
And just losing to her probably got his goat, and he just lost it. That's just me.
Yeah, I thought they got along in the past before, but now it's becoming like a real heated rivalry. Now it's definitely heated after this.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It started
yeah.
to become a rivalry because they played against each other in the championship game last year. UConn whooped them pretty badly by 25 points, whatever it was, and then they meet again in the Final Four. You know, um, yeah, I just don't know about him, man. I don't think he needs to step down yet, but
Not
you
yet.
don't want to ruin his legacy. That's what I'm
No,
talking about.
no. If this becomes a pattern, he'll be remembered for that. Kind of like Bobby Knight, who was a great coach, but when you think of Bobby Knight, what do you think of? How he acted, which is not it's not really good. So
No, he threw chairs on the court, which was
yeah,
crazy, and he liked being the center of attention. He was
yeah,
annoying. Some people say he was a great coach. Maybe he was in his own right, but I thought he was more annoying. He was all I didn't like him, and then
yeah,
he put his hands on a player. Yeah, yeah, that player might have been a smart ass and being a punk or whatever you want to call it, but you still can't put your hands on the kid. You can't put your hands around his neck or wherever he did. You
no,
know,
no, no, no.
you can just kick him off the team or whatever the
Yeah.
case may be, but you don't
Bench
put
him
your hands
or
on him. You don't put
yeah,
your hands on a player.
no. So and we won't see Geno do this, I don't think, but yeah, yeah, I know he doesn't like to lose. No coach likes to lose, but if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna lose, I mean, lose with some dignity, not like that.
Yeah, that's that. Now you got my brain jogging. I was losing my train of thought, but that's what I want to talk about. Lose with class.
Yes,
This is where I think he's delusional. He was talking about it in the postgame, like where I teach my players to lose with class, win with class, and lose with class. But what about
yes,
your class? In the postgame, he never said anything about himself. He did apologize. In his defense, he apologized a
yes,
couple days later. But in the postgame conference, he never said anything about his own behavior. But he was talking about how he teaches his players to lose and win with class.
yes,
So, um, yeah, I think he's a little bit delusional, man.
yeah, yeah. And he didn't mention Don Staley's name when he
Nope.
during that statement. Apparently, he called her personally, but he acted like that in public. Stephen A. Smith said this, and I'm going to echo it. He should apologize to her in public.
Yeah, I agree. Stephen, I don't like Stephen A. Smith a lot, but I agree with him on that.
Yeah,
Occasionally, I agree with him, and that's one time. This is one
yeah,
time.
yeah,
Um, yeah, he's right about that. Yeah, he should have apologized publicly because he made it very public.
yeah,
He acted very badly in public in front of like thousands of people watching. Um, yeah, he absolutely should apologize. That's part of his pride, I think, though, like we were talking about
yeah.
earlier. Yeah, he's too prideful, man. He like the kiss the ring mentality. I don't
Right.
like it. So yeah, he should apologize, man. There was something I was gonna say about him, but I'm losing my train of thought on him. But yeah, he's just wrong, man. He needs to be very careful. He's on a slippery slope.
Yeah,
You know, I know he's got 11 rings, so that's not gonna be easy to fire him. But
yeah,
you kind of need to be careful about their rotation. Like, what kind of coaches do you keep around your program? Like Michigan having bad coaches. Let's talk about during the football season, the whole Sherrone Moore situation, Juwan Howard, Coach Harbaugh, and
yeah.
some of his things. Michigan was being looked at kind of badly with like what are you keeping around your program?
Yes.
Um, so UConn, I won't say UConn's there yet, but they need to be careful of that. I said they need to be mindful of that. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, the win. I think. Well, one of the winningest coach in all of basketball. I mean, I'm not sure in women's college basketball, and we want to remember him for that. So, yeah, hopefully this is just a one-time thing. But yeah, not good. You got to do better.
yeah, he's got to do better. He's got to do better. Um, this Ivy situation. Did you watch that Jamal Hill show? I forgot to ask you that before.
No, no, not yet. If I watch after this show.
Okay, so about a week ago, last week sometime, Chicago Bulls waive Ivy, Jaden Ivey, I believe, right?
Jaden Ivey.
The ex Purdue player.
Yes,
Um, he was, I think he got drafted in what, 2021.
something like that. He's young, 24, I think.
He played two
He's
years in college at Purdue. I want to say it's 2021. So he was a lottery pick. He was the fifth round pick in the draft. Jamel Hill said in her show, this politics podcast of hers. I'm not a big fan of Jamel Hill overall, but she said a lot of things in this show. It was an hour long podcast. Pretty interesting takes. You need to definitely watch it.
yeah,
But he gets drafted to the Detroit Pistons, and that's her team. Fifth pick in the first round. A lot of expectations. Um, he had moments where he played like a fifth, like a a top five pick. He had some moments where he played really well with Detroit, but he got injured. He's had injuries the last couple of years. That's what
yeah,
landed him to the Bulls. Last 2 or 3 years, he's been injured. He had
yes,
moments, but he couldn't sustain the moments in Detroit because of injuries. He had some moments where he was scoring 20 some points. He was looking good, but those injuries. But he goes to the Bulls and they waive him. He wasn't there very long, and is because what he said. They said it's because of religious beliefs. What do you think about that? The religious belief.
well, they didn't cut him. Well, they used the conduct detrimentals of the team.
Yep. And she talked about that in her show.
Baloney. That's what I'm going to call it. It's a family show.
Yeah. You say whatever
Uh,
you want.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to say what I told you earlier. I applaud his bravery. I applaud him for speaking out um, and standing up for what he believes in. Uh, but apparently I don't know if he knew the consequences of this possibility of him being cut. I know he spoke out and said, "Well, what did I do that was detrimental? I congratulate my teammates. I'm a good team player. I high five. I do everything right as a teammate. What did I do that? What was so wrong?"
Mm.
Uh, it's just when you make comments like that in any sport now, times have changed. You're on a slippery slope. And the NBA, they're all about the brand. They're all about the logo. Um, Chicago's about, I guess, it's an example. Hey, what he said doesn't speak for all of us. Whether they think it was homophobic or whatever you want to call it, I don't know. But I wish it wouldn't have happened because, like I said, I do applaud him being brave and standing up for this. I mean, maybe he could have put it a different way. I know you mentioned that earlier. I'll let you expand on that, but I don't know if another team will pick him up. I know he's hurt anyway. He was benched anyway.
Yeah.
This is what he does. He
I
does
wasn't
these
going to play for the
podcasts.
rest of the season. Yeah.
Yeah,
Something with
so
his knee. Yeah. He has a knee
yeah,
problem.
yeah. And I'm gonna stand by what I said. I applaud him for standing up for what he believes in, but sometimes you gotta be mindful.
Yeah, you really got to watch the Gemma Hill podcast. I'll talk about some things she said. And people may not agree, disagree. This is obviously a very sensitive subject.
Yes.
I applaud him as well for me being Christian, man. I applaud
Yeah.
him for that. But as much as I applaud him in some ways, I think he went off on the deep end a little bit.
Okay.
That I think is what the issue is, because he says he doesn't support the LGBTQ, however you say that community. I get the acronym confuses me, but you don't talk about lesbian, gay um, community, which he's fine to think that. We're all allowed to think what we want.
Right. Right.
His view under the eyes of God, that's wrong. But he started talking about the NBA a lot. The NBA supporting this, NBA supporting that. He should have said, "Hey, I don't agree with the." He could have said it differently. He could have said,
Yeah.
I don't agree with that lifestyle," because a lot of people don't agree with each other's lifestyles. We all got to work together. We all
Right.
got to be around. Like I said, I was in the Navy 26 years. I may not agree with everyone's lifestyle. We have different religions, different this, different
Yes.
that, and
Yes.
you got if my if my sailor is busting their butt, working hard for me, and I'm not giving them what they deserve. I'm not giving them promotions because of what religious beliefs they have or because of what their sexual orientations are. I would be in a lot of trouble as a chief or senior chief, and rightfully so. It might be wrong under the eyes of God. Of course, we believe in God, but at work, though, there's a people from different kinds of backgrounds, man. I just don't know how else to
Yeah.
explain it. And you have to be fair across the board. You can't let any kind of like personal beliefs get in your way of making
Right.
decisions.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and he said something crazy too about the Catholic religion and like he
Yeah.
doesn't recognize it. That's where I think he went too far. His mom's the
Exactly.
head coach of freaking Notre Dame women's
Wow.
basketball, a very
Yeah.
Catholic, prestigious university. That's why I
Yes.
think he's losing a little bit. That's why people say
Yeah.
he also has mental health issues besides this because he's had some mental health issues in the past. And that's where I think he might went a little bit too far. Like, yeah, like, dude, your mom coaches a Catholic college basketball team. Like Notre Dame is very famous. Like, what are you talking
Yeah.
about? Like, you may not agree with what everything they're saying, but they are a religion, you know.
Yes.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
he looked like he's like losing it a little bit, like up here. So, and he's had a history, I think, of mental health in the past.
Mm.
Jamel Hill said some other things too about she made a good point. There's a lot of guys on a basketball team. There's a lot of guys on different organizations, and um, a lot of guys. It's kind of like what I said about the Navy. A lot of guys have different beliefs. There's probably guys who agree with them. They don't agree with the gay community, but they're not going to say something crazy. Um,
Right.
they just kind of keep it to themselves because they just stay professional because of their
Yes.
personal beliefs. Like you
Right.
have all kinds of guys in the locker room, different religions, different races, different this, different that, and they're all on the same team. And then she also says, "Is the juice worth the squeeze?" It's not just. It's not. She said he wasn't cut for religious beliefs. People may disagree with that, agree or disagree, because I know it's a very sensitive subject. Some people think he is, but
Yes.
she's saying it's just because it's not that. She's saying because like is the juice worth the squeeze? This guy's not producing. He's not what everyone thought he was going to be right now. He still might be later because he's still pretty young, but right now he's not.
Right.
So Because is the team gonna want to take all this heat for what he's saying? Because like that's nothing she said. If it was Allen Iverson, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, like they take heat for what players say because people have said
Right.
controversial things in the past, but it's because like they're the best players. It may not be fair, but it's because they're the best players in the
Yeah.
NBA. That's what
Yeah.
she was
LeBron's
talking about.
criticized all the time.
And he's not Kobe. And she also mentioned players. I remember two or three of them off the top of my head, but Allen Iverson made a gay slur. I think Kobe Bryant, the late Kobe Bryant, did.
Yeah, I
Someone
think
else did.
Kobe
She
did.
mentioned like four or five players' names, all players that we know. But I mean, the two big ones was Allen Iverson, AI, and Kobe Bryant. I mean, they said some things from time to time, and they take like a little bit of heat for it, but they weren't let go, you know. Um, so her show was just really good, and she's also talking about. She said she's a Christian herself, and she was talking about this gets really touchy and sensitive. She was talking about like what she say? Oh, because she said her mom when her mom became a Christian, like you could tell like when there's someone's like a new Christian, like their whole life changes, which is exposed to. And she
Yeah.
mentioned that like your life is supposed to change. We're supposed to act more in the eyes of God. But she was just saying like, how like everything she talked about with her daughter was always like had to come back to something like religious related. That's what she was saying.
Okay.
Like when
Yeah.
you're like a brand new Christian,
Right. Right.
it just dominated the conversation every single time. Like she just
Yeah.
couldn't stop talking about it. It was
Yeah.
like on her brain like 24/7. So she was
Yes.
kind of talking about that, and she was saying that she thinks it's great that Ivy found faith because like I said in his past he did have some alcohol issues. I think he said he did something bad to his wife. He had some kind of abuse to his wife. She said she didn't know if it was physical or not mental, but verbal, which leads to mental abuse, obviously. She didn't know what kind of abuse it was, but she said he had history of that, and it's kind of like he's like riding his demons, if you will. Does that make sense? You froze, brother. You there?
Yeah. 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 So did you. I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah, my internet connection is really bad again. But she was talking about like he was righting some of his wrongs, basically, like because he had some demons and he had some skeletons in his closet. He's like righting his wrongs, basically, because him having some issues with his wife, the abuse and the alcoholism and so he's become a Christian in the last couple of years, and I'm glad for it. Like I support Ivy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I support Ivy overall.
Yes.
Like I applaud him for
Absolutely.
sticking up for himself. I do think he went too far, and there are some things, and like yeah, I just don't know if it was for religious reasons or not. What do you think? Do you think it was for religious reasons? Do you think or
I read that through these injuries, his life changed. He kind of changed his life, and so he speaks out a little more. He is not afraid to express his faith, obviously, and he's going to continue to share it. Just yeah, you're still employed by the NBA. You were still employed by the team, and when you want to speak out like that, you take that risk. And yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, I'm sure somebody else will pick him up, but yeah, that's the downside of that. When you speak out on things like that, there can be repercussions, unfortunately, and that's what happened.
yeah, the other thing I agree. The other thing Jemima Hill said was like she said there's believers and there's believers, and believers, and
Yes,
I know what she
yes,
means by that, even within my own family, because I believe in God, you believe in God,
yeah,
but there are some people that are like die hard, like like, and it kind of it's I don't know what the right words are. It's kind of like a bad look sometimes because like they're really harsh on one thing, but then some of the other things they're doing, some things they're saying, like how it makes them look sometimes with like people that are different than them, like minorities and
okay,
things
yeah,
like that. It kind of makes those kind of people like look a little bit bad. Like you're saying all this, but then look at all the things that you do. Look how you treat people and
yeah,
things like that. So, because some people are gonna jump. What she was saying was some people are gonna jump on this bandwagon, like the believers, like we're gonna jump on this, like you know,
mhm.
religious persecution, and it might be, but I don't know. I think it's more about because he's not a productive, like she said, he's not a productive player right now, and he's causing all these distractions because it's about distractions. Like, does the team want this distraction with him? Um, like I said, if he's a top dog, they'll take the distraction. You know, if he's the guy for the Minnesota Timberwolves, what's his freaking name?
Oh,
He said some crazy things. Just talk about him
yeah,
also. Um, they're willing to put up with it. Obviously, no one can get away with murder,
yeah,
um,
yes.
but you know what I'm talking about? Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards.
Ant-Man, yes. Anthony
Ant-Man
Edwards.
says some things sometimes, and
Yeah,
his name was brought up in this. His name was brought up in her podcast. It's really interesting though. But like I said, at the end of the day, though, I'm glad he's sticking up for his faith. You know, but he just needs. Yeah, but
yeah,
he went. I just think he went overboard. Um, Especially with the whole Catholic thing with his mom, that made no sense. And he's saying some
yeah,
other crazy things too, but that was the biggest one I noticed.
yeah, yeah. That's the one I really didn't understand what he meant there, but yeah, yeah. Well, we'll see.
I hope he can still play. I hope he plays the NBA. I mean, well, this is one I will stir the pot. So, um, not about religion, but this in general. Because some people probably think this. There have been some crazy guys in the NBA and professional sports in general, some crazy freaking crimes. Should have been in freaking jail,
Yes,
and they're playing. So I know some people are going to say that, and that is true. But they're not. I think also, I don't obviously applaud what they're doing at all, but they're not saying things. They're not saying things on social media though. That's the thing. That's the thing I forgot to mention in the beginning. Like,
yeah,
if someone's under a court case, like Deshaun Watson was gone from the Cleveland Browns for a long time
yes,
with all that stuff, but I don't think he was on social media saying a bunch of things. Like he was being really quiet and letting the court do its thing.
yes,
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not
yes,
saying what he did was right, and all those other guys was like sexual assault. That's freaking horrible. Those guys should be in
yeah,
jail,
absolutely,
they're
100%.
not talking about it though. He's
Yes,
This is where social media can bite you in the freaking butt. Um, he's using social media, and it is backfiring on him.
mm,
Backfiring on him big time. Because like, because if you're because you're not guilty until you're not, you know, you might be accused of something, but you're not guilty until you're found guilty. So if these guys are going through some kind of court allegation, they may be on or off the team depending on how bad it is. If it's not
yes,
that bad, they'll be playing. But if it's real bad, they'll probably they put them like on a break for a while, or whatever, you
right.
know. But anyways, I know some people are going to think that. I think everyone thinks that, but that is interesting. You know, he mentioned something about his faith, and then but he hasn't committed any crimes. You know, but that's a big one. That's a big one. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I'll be watching. I'll be keeping an eye on him. Follow him, see where he goes. I don't think anyone's picked him up yet. I mean, Chicago. Well, he's off the team now. I don't know if any playoff team could pick him up. Well, he's injured anyway, so we'll see
He's
what happens with
injured,
him
and they
next
see
year.
how he is mentally. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I think his mental side of things with how he is, that's because there's a physical side and there's a mental side. I think mentally he is struggling a little bit. And I'm praying for him,
yeah,
but I do think there's something there with him like the last few years. I'm glad he found God, but he's struggling mentally. I think not just about him being let go from the team, but I think just in general, because his some of his comments were a little bit out there, and yeah. But so I hope he can like get back to good health physically, because he might be the top 5 pick if can get back to where he was. Like I said, he showed
yeah,
moments of it in his first year or two with Detroit. His first couple years in Detroit, he had moments, but he couldn't sustain it. You know, it's all about sustaining it. And then the injuries made it worse.
yes,
So I hope he comes back in the NBA. But he shouldn't be banned because, like, what Ray Rice in the NFL is banned for punching his wife in
right.
the locker room, knocking her the F out. Like, that was an ugly punch.
Yeah,
Like, that would
yeah,
knock out a grown man, like,
yeah,
let alone a woman.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, there are some guys that are banned. I don't think he should be banned.
No, 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 no. And he won't play again. Some team will sign him.
Yeah, I think he just needs to concentrate right now the next, like, 6 months during this offseason, getting right physically and
Yes,
mentally, trying to come back strong. He can still believe in his faith. We all do. that's what
Yeah,
Jamel Hill was saying. Like everyone has their faith in NBA. Like there are other Christians in NBA. There are other religion. People have other religious beliefs in NBA. Like they're all in there playing kind of
yeah,
together.
yeah.
And there are some owners who are really religious and some owners who aren't. 'Cause I think she mentioned Orlando Magic also. Like I think Orlando Magic owners are very religious, and there's some guy on their team that says a lot of things, but their ownership is very religious.
Mm.
So it's an interesting podcast. So you need to watch it. How she's
But
breaking
yeah,
it
yeah, I'm
down.
gonna check it out. I mean, you told me about it. Yeah, I will check it out.
Yeah. So, but people, what are your thoughts on this? Like, so I wish nothing but Jaden Ivey, nothing but the
Yeah,
best.
yeah, same here.
Yeah, like yeah, he has the right to think what he wants. It's just he needs to be careful. It's just not what you say, but it's how you say it. Like if he would have said things
Yeah,
a little bit differently, it might have been a little bit it might have been gone a little bit differently for him. But he kind of jumped off on the deep end a little bit. But
yeah,
thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Let us know your comments and everything. Whether you agree, disagree, you can disagree. That's hardcore, especially about the Jay and Ivy situation. I get it. It's touchy.
yeah.
It's
Please
sensitive.
respond. Leave your comments. We want to hear it, good or bad.
Yeah,
Agree
but
or disagree.
thanks. Yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Glad Michigan got their second championship.
All right.
Um,
Congrats, Big Blue. Congrats.
yeah,
Good
yep,
job.
yeah. Go blue. You got anything else, brother?
Hey, yeah, yeah. Congrats, Big Blue. We have NBA playoffs coming up. Some unfortunate things happened to my Lakers. Two key players are out. That's going to hurt. So we'll see what happens. We might get to some NBA now. We'll see what goes on.
Agreed, brother. We will get to some NBA. We should start during the NBA playoffs, which will be here pretty soon. I think they got like 4 or 5 games left.
Yeah.
NBA playoffs are starting in a week or two,
Yes.
so we'll get into some first round action here soon. But thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Have a good night. Peace
Good
out.
night.